Hi friends, welcome to WebChamp. So in this video, I am going to discuss online Excel connectors in Power Automate. Okay, so if you open the Power Automate and if you want to create a flow to do something in Excel which is available on the online. Right. So let's create a flow and I will say instant cloud flow, manually trigger and online Excel operations, or I can say actions. Then now say create, right? So if you try to add the actions and if you go to the Excel online business, so this is the list that you will be able to, I mean, list of actions that you will be able to perform with Excel, right? So Excel online connectors in Power Automate is a powerhouse for automating workflow involving the Excel files stored in OneDrive for business or meaning OneDrive for business or SharePoint. So these two are the alternative, but from anywhere you can pick. So OneDrive is nothing but SharePoint and the background. So what it does, it lets you to read the data, it lets you to write, or it helps you to manipulate the data in Excel table without opening the file. So you need to make sure the data you are trying to access using the online Excel connectors, it should be in table format. Okay, because these actions works only if your Excel file is formatted as a table. Otherwise, you can't use this. So make sure your data is structured properly. Right. So first action we will see one by one, like list a row present in a table. So if you want to read the number of rows from a table, so you need to use this. Okay. So let me find out the Excel, what Excel I have. Okay, in this even I don't have. Okay, so approval. Okay, this is not new request form. Okay, so let's say I have a this data. I wanted to work with employee leave request form data. So what I can do is I can first of all select the OneDrive for business, or you will be able to see the sites or groups that are created on the SharePoint, right? So you will be able to select either of the location to fetch or to perform the actions on the Excel. So I will say OneDrive for business. Okay, this is what my location. Instead of, sorry, inside that, we have something called OneDrive as a library. Then now you need to select the file. Okay, so it will read all the files. Okay, my interest is to read the data from this file, and I am going to use, this is the table name, office forms dot table, right? Extra sensitivity label is there. In that case, you will be able to specify these things, but these are the optional, so you can leave at this point, right? So while reading the data, you may want to filter data for the specific category, then you can use the filter query. If you want to sort it, you will be able to use order by. If you want to get the top count, so you will be able to do well. This is like limit in MySQL. This is like top in SQL Server. So top n number of rows if you want to get, you can use this. Then skip count. So if you want to give the offset, you can use skip count. Right. If you want to select the specific columns, you will be able to use this. And then date time format, if you want to do something, you will be able to. Right. So this is how it can be. Okay. So let me select the select query. Okay. And what it is saying, it is asking me to give the list of comma separated columns. And first 500 columns will be retrieved by default. I don't want to do that. Okay. 500 columns is too much. I wanted to get the data for these many columns only. I don't want to get this a column A, B, C data, right? So what I can do is I can pass the comma separated list there, and let me replace this with a comma. Right, so this is email, this is name, this is employee ID, and this. So this will be, by default, it will be changed like this. So you can replace the space with underscore. Right, and let me say save. So I wanted to read the data for these many columns only. Okay, it is saving. Once the flow is saved, test the flow, and it might throw the errors for the column name. Okay, it is just checking the connections with the files, and now it is running the flow. Okay, flow execution is started. Okay, right. As I said, list rows within select column names, employee ID not found. Okay, so if I come here, if I select this raw input, let me see the names of columns if I can see. No, I can't see. Okay, and the problem is how I can give the names, right? Then what happens? So I need to edit the names of those columns, because if you give the space, that is not going to work. So let's edit the names here. Okay, like SQL, I was thinking this will automatically read space with underscore, but this is not happening. So we need to do this manually. Right. So let me say save, and still it will take a time to synchronize. See, whatever the changes I'm making, that is on my local system. You need to wait until this gets synchronized with the the cloud, because we are accessing the file from cloud. And let me perform this now. Right. And it is able to execute. Right. So the column names, what I want, I gave the names. Right. And here you are able to see it gives me these many data, only the columns. But whenever you read the data from online, so O data, online data fields will be, these two columns will be always there. If you want to trim this, you need to use the select query here. You need to use the select query. And here you can say body, this will be the array. And then you can pass the names of column, like whatever the columns are there, name, and then from previous step you will be able to give the values like column email id, name, employee id, leave date, and a reason for leaving. So let me do this for you. Right. So here I will say employee name, and I will pick the name from the previous step. Okay. Or I can rename this. At this step, you can rename the columns as you want. Then EMP ID. Okay. Sequence we can change also here as we want, but I'm not doing, I'm randomly picking. Okay. So ideally ID should come first, but I'm not doing that. Okay. So employee ID, then employee email, and let me search for the field called email. Then the next field is leave date. So here I will say leave EMP leave date, and the next is, okay, let me say employee leave reason. Okay, so these many columns. Even you can search for the specific column if you know the name of column. Otherwise, you can pick it from the drop down. So now this will give me the only 5 columns. That 2 columns, what I was getting automatically, and I was not looking for those data, because you see, whenever you have to load this data, so that data, the 2 columns are going to be a problem for you. Unnecessarily, it will consume 2 columns, and then it will put these online IDs. Those are not helpful for us. So input, you can see this is what the input, O data, item internal, email name. So 7 columns are passed here. But if I go to the output, you will be able to see that it is cleaned. Right. So we have the data. We are able to read the data from list rows present in a table action. Right. Then next action is get a row. If you want to fetch a data for a specific row, right? I just wanted to show you this. Otherwise, there is nothing to do with this action. Let me say select, and I wanted to get only a row from specific Excel, right? So you can use this action. So if I say get a row, and let me say online, let me say OneDrive, let me choose the file, right? Then let me select the table, office.com, table. And then you need to select the key column, because see here we are going to filter the data. So I will say I would like to filter the, meaning select the key column and then enter the value. Okay, enter the key value 1001. Even let me see what is the value used here in this Excel. Right, so 1 3 times 0. Okay, I wanted to get the that record for this. So I will say save. It will read only one row. Okay, get a row will read only one row. And now if I say test, okay, unnecessarily we can, okay, no problem. It is not going to hurt us in any of the way. Let me run this, but we are increasing the load because performing every time running the same action again and again. Okay, so here you can see input. This is what the input I gave, and the output is like it is giving me the data for that row. Right, item internal ID 1001 and employee ID. This is the name. This is the everything. Then time is in numbers. Right, so this will help to get the single row data. Now there is something called, let me select first, get a worksheets. Okay, so you may want to see how many worksheets are there. So this will give the list of worksheets. So select the files, select it for the business. Okay, and then select the file only. This is the only parameters you need to select. Okay, so let me customize the sheet names so that we will be able to do. Okay, so let me say webchamp, and here I will say YouTube. This is, I'm just randomly giving the name. Okay, I have two worksheets. All are saved just now, right? So what I can do, if I test the flow, you will be able to see the list of worksheets from the Excel file. Right, input is not something that we are looking for the output. So name is webchamp and the name is YouTube, right? Even visibility is, you will be able to, meaning if any sheet is hidden there in Excel, it will be showing you here. Okay, so get worksheets is the action that is used to check the number of list of worksheets in the Excel. Then, okay, then we have something called delete a row or update a row. So these actions, the way we are able to get the details, similarly, you need to specify for which key you wanted to delete a row, it will delete automatically. Right. So let me select this again, and OneDrive for business. I'll not test this at this moment, but yeah. So I'm just showing you by making the selections. Okay, so let's search. So here it should show OneDrive as an option. Then let's select the file. Okay, this is what the file. This is the hierarchy. First, it will ask for the library, then it will ask for the file, then it will ask for the tables, and then it will ask for the key column. Obviously, you need to select the key, and I wanted to delete the record for 10006. This is what the key value that I want to delete, right? Then you may want to update something. So in that case, you can go and you can select update a row, right? And let me say this, then this is the OneDrive. Again, the process is same. You need to select the file, then you need to select the table. The hierarchy we should follow. Okay, office.table. So this is what but table name. It's not like that you need to write the office forms.table. And then key column you need to specify, and let's say I would like to update the value for this. So what and all other parameters are there? So what will be the email? What will be this? Right. So employee ID is fine, but leave date is fine. But if I want to change any specific value, I'll be able to either select the values from the flows if it is coming from the any other source, right? Or if it is coming from the form, I'll be able to update, right? So you will be able to select the actions like values from the previous data. Even we can enter also, right? So it will modify the row, but you need to select the column name and their appropriate value. Okay. Then we have something called, okay, so delete row, update row, get worksheets, get a row list, row present, everything we discussed. We have to discuss about the run script and run script from SharePoint library. So these are the options. These are the options that are used to execute office script. Office script is something that is used with the Excel to automate. If you use the Excel, and if you go to the Power Automate in the Automate tab here, so all these are office scripts. You can see all scripts. Okay, create new table and all. You just need to select this. Okay, and whenever you say save, it will save somewhere. Okay, so save to SharePoint to share script with your team, and save to OneDrive to store a personal copy. However you want to save, you will be able to save. And these scripts you can execute account against the Excel files. So that's it. Then for a selected row, trigger a flow for a selected row in an Excel table. Okay, so if I use this, right? So let me select OneDrive for business. This is the location. This is the what library. Then let me select the file and let me select the table, right? And then add an input. Okay. So it is asking for the user input and all. Okay. This is what I don't want. For a selected row. But again, the question is where to select the rows. Right. The action shows it is for the selected rows. So if I say Actually, this is it lets you to run a flow directly from Excel for a specific row that you select, and perfect for the scenario like sending personalized email, updating databases, or triggering the approvals. Okay. But this will be executed when this is what used when you are using the cloud flows. And if you go to the Excel file, if you open the Excel file online, and if you make the selection, and if you try to run the flow, in that case, this will perform the action. Input fields, you can user input, what kind of user input, choose a user text, yes, no, or file. So like this, there are many types of inputs you can give, what kind of inputs you want to use. But this is completely optional. It's not like you need to use. If user say yes, no, or if there is something like comment or any kind of number is used, in that case, if you want to execute, you will be able to execute, right? So this is like a trigger. This is like a trigger in cloud flows, right? For a selected row. So now we are using here as an action, but this is like a trigger in cloud flow. Or if you select this, if you select everything, and if you open the Excel file, select the number of rows. If after this step, if you whatever the kind of operation you wanted to perform, you can perform, and that will be executed. You may want to send an email for the selected rows, it will work. Right. So this is how actions are defined. Then add a key column into a table. So if you want to add a key column, you will be able to add. Then add a row into table if you want to add a new row to the table. Whatever the table we are so far working on that. If I want to add the new row, I am able to do that using the add a row action. Right. Then create worksheet, create table, get tables. Okay, so if you want to get the way we saw a list of worksheets there, if you want to get a list of tables in the Excel workbook, you can use the get tables. Then if you want to create new worksheets, you will be able to create a new worksheet in Excel workbook using the create worksheet action. And if I say create table, so create new table in Excel workbook, right? So you can use all these actions to automate your Excel operations. Meaning whenever the Excel file is available on the OneDrive or SharePoint, you may want to do something, you can use this. It's not like it is, it can be only used with the OneDrive only. You can use this with Excel also, right? So this is all about the actions on business Excels. Okay, Excel online. So I specified here as a OneDrive, but this is for the Excel online. Right. So I hope you like the content of this video. Thank you so much for watching the video. Have a nice day. Happy learning. Do not forget to subscribe. Web Jam.